Hi, Doug from unSkript here. I think we've all, as CloudOps professionals, seen the Slack message come across saying, anyone know why this instance is running in APAC or in South America? Or any reason why we have this extra large doing something or other? And, there's always a reason, but sometimes it wasn't necessarily a good reason. And one of the things I think that happens is that when you're trying to launch an instance at AWS, there's a crazy number of options here. And so what if your team built a self-service platform that sort of distilled down the 8,000 choices here at AWS to maybe 10 or 15 that you allow your team to decide to base their decisions on? So you could say, here's the Linux boxes, here are the Windows boxes, here are the sizes you can use, launch it. And I'm going to show you how you can do that with unSkript. And I've got a very simple example here. It's using a Google form. Now, the great thing about Google Forms, if you have a Google workspace, is you can limit this form to just people in your workspace. So you've already built like a secure front end that only folks in your workspace can use. And then, of course, when they're launching stuff, you can record their email address, right? So you know who's doing it. So let's walk through this example. We're going to launch and tag an AMI at AWS. We're going to launch an EC2 instance based on some predefined AMIs. So we have two of them. I'm just going to pick this one. You could imagine this section could be a few questions, like, do you need a Windows server or a Linux server? Do you want it to be small, medium, large? And then you can decide whether if small is a micro, medium is a such and such, and a large is whatever, right? You can, sort of make some of those informed decisions for the people who are launching things. And then we're going to add a name tag. So we can call this video instance. You can decide what regions, right? This prevents that, like, why is this running in EU2 or whatever, right? No, we can only launch stuff in West 2 or East 1 in the US. And then you acquire an owner tag, so we'll call this Doug. And an expiration tag is a common thing used in FinOps. So that, I'm just trying this thing out. I'm not going to need this instance in a week. So let's just have it expire on the 30th. And then a script can run on the 1st. This is expired. It's gone. If I forget to do it, it's gone. And we don't keep incurring the costs of having this instance running forever. So when I submit this form, if you've ever used a Google form, it fills out a Google sheet. And, that's great, but it doesn't really, that's great for like following along what's happening in the self-service. But how does that actually get us to launching this EC2 instance? What I've done is I've written a script. And this script has a trigger. When there's a submission, this runs. And what it's going to do is it's going to use the unSkript API, right? And it's going to hit this workflow, this RunBook at unSkript. I deleted my API key for obvious reasons, just for this video. And here's the proxy. I think I accidentally deleted the proxy too, but the proxy is an identifier inside unSkript. Okay, so now on submit, it's going to get all the variables and send it as an API call. So the payload has the proxy ID and it has the parameters from the Google form in the params. And what that does is that's making an API call to unSkript. And so once I hit submit, it's going to call a RunBook. Let's take a look at that RunBook. Here's the RunBook. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a bunch of input parameters, the AMI that we're going to launch, the expiration date, the name that we're going to apply to the instance that we're launching, the owner, and the region tags. And so what happens here is we're going to get the region and the AMI, and we're going to launch that EC2 instance. Then we'll get the ID, the instance ID, once it's launched, and we will apply the three tags, name, owner, and expiration date. And then once all that's done, we're going to post a message in Slack because, it's good to know, like, hey, we just launched this. It's ready to go. All right, so let's do it. So I'm going to hit submit. And you can see this trigger has already completed. So that means we can come over here and we can look at the executions. And we can see that this runbook has already completed. So it's already gone through and created the instance. We can see in Slack that a new EC2 instance has been launched, and it happened just at 106. It's 106 right now. And finally, we can come over here to our list of EC2 instances. I'll refresh this page. And we can see that this video instance is initializing, like it's already up and running. So what's great about this is becomes a self-service sort of thing. If someone needs an EC2 instance, rather than giving them the cornucopia of options to launch your EC2 instance, as an SRE with the experience and knowing what teams generally need inside your company, you can distill it down to 2 choices like I did here, or maybe 20 choices if there's a few more options in launching EC2 instances. But now we've created a self-service platform that's a little less daunting than doing it at AWS, and you can ensure that the right security groups and all of those things are applied because you can control that through this RunBook. So this is a really cool way of showing how you can use unSkript to simplify your life and to simplify the life of other developers on your team who need to launch infrastructure. Just give them a web form and the work gets done for them, and they'll get a Slack message saying that, hey, it's launched. And I think that's pretty cool. Watch this space for more videos on how you can use unSkript to make your life easier and make the life of your team better in terms of defining and operating your CloudOps.